What is up, everybody? It's Rebecca Johnson and Morgan Glennon of Supergirl Radio. We're going to get started here in a minute. Morgan, if you want to vamp for me for a second, I'm gonna try to get us to go live on Instagram. So I don't know if you want to tease people for what we're going to be talking about tonight. If you wanted to summarize,
sure. As usual, show and tell.
Okay, I'm going to try to get the stream going.
Sure. Yeah, so we will be talking about we're back to the Peter David run. We took a couple of little detours, but now we're back again to whatever is happening in this run. And we are going to be covering issues 6 through 9 in this beautiful trade that I have. And a lot happens. There are a lot of things. I'm still struggling to understand some of the specifics of how it works to merge with somebody. Like, is she Supergirl or is she something else? Big questions in this run. And we have a couple of really interesting issues. There's like a guess who came to dinner issue where
yes.
Buzz comes to dinner for a blind date. Linda's mom has a terrible taste in men, I think, just sort of across the board.
She's not real perceptive about things.
She's like, I've got such a good sense of people. It's like your husband's a little bit of a jerk. Your daughter was a serial killer, and then you just tried to set her up with a serial killer. So
yes.
Not the great. I don't think Sylvia's dating service is going to take off.
Yeah, not great for blind dates.
Not great for blind dates.
All right, I'm trying to.
I noticed that the Instagram went away.
Yes, because apparently, if you schedule way ahead of time, it doesn't seem to like this, and so I'm trying to add it back in. We're going to get this one day.
One of these days.
I feel like this is going to happen at some point for us. We did it really well that first time, and now it's
I feel like the odds are that one of these days we've got to get this.
Okay, I think we're live on Instagram. Somebody check it for us. I don't have my phone on me, but we should be live on it. Well, actually, hang on, maybe.
All right, I'm turning my volume off, and then I'm going to see I'm going to see what I see.
Okay, we should be live on Instagram now. So hello, Instagram. If you're watching, we are going to be live streaming and talking about Supergirl number 6 through 9 of the Peter David run, which is pretty bonkers.
We are live. Look at this, is like Inception.
Yes, the Instagram portion of streaming through StreamYard is very complicated. I guess for everyone it's complicated because you have to add the stream key and you have to title it and you have to do all this. So yeah, we're good now. I think we got the hang of it. I think we're like Instagram streaming pros now at this point.
I think we know what we're about now.
Now that we're not rusty anymore.
Does anybody want to watch this on Instagram? That is more of a TBD kind of situation.
Hey, if you're watching this on Instagram, come on over. Watch it with us. We're here to entertain you and really give you a recap of 4 issues of a really bonkers run on Supergirl that you're going to be like, wait, what happened? And it's going to be like, yeah, that's what happened.
Exactly that happened.
What we say is like a real thing. We're actually telling you what's in the story. It sounds like we're making it up, but it's actually,
but we're not.
But we're not. It's what Peter David wrote, and it's actually, I enjoy it. So there's that. So we are going to go ahead, I think, and get started. I think we have the doc ready. Let me know if you don't have the doc, Morgan. And we're going to be talking a little bit about some news. They released a kind of a new teaser for the Supergirl movie starring Millie Alcock with a focus on Lobo, because that was inevitable. So
we gotta get the boys watching football.
Yeah,
they're not gonna want to see the girl movie. But if Lobo's there, it's Lobo for the bros.
They're not gonna watch the Supergirl movie for the pretty girl in the lead.
Yeah, for the pretty girl or the action adventure.
Yes, Or the
For sure for
dinosaurs,
Lobo.
if they're dinosaurs,
Maybe
there
it
should
could
be
be. We
dinosaurs.
haven't seen one show up in a promo, so we can't
We can't
say.
confirm they're
But
dinosaurs.
I think that there should be.
There should be. There should be. Okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit about that, and then we're going to be talking about a bonkers run on Supergirl, and we're going to have fun with it. So if you're streaming with us live on Instagram or YouTube, feel free to drop us a comment, and we'll try our best to respond to it. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. Morgan, if you're good.
Sounds good.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because her outfit.
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the character of Kara Zor-El and sometimes Linda Danvers. My name is Rebecca Johnson.
I'm Morgan Glennon.
And for this episode of the podcast, we are live and wired to continue our read-through of the Peter David run of Supergirl with Supergirl 1996 to 2003, number 6 through 9. When I told Morgan a long time ago that the Peter David run was like really bonkers, really wild, I'm hoping Morgan, I mean, maybe in the first 4 issues, there was a lot of like crazy stuff that happened. But these sets of issues, I feel like if you didn't get the vibe that things were bonkers, like I think it's starting to get bonkers.
Yeah, we're starting to escalate a little
Yes.
bit, I think the lore is deepening, but also becoming more insane. And so I'm going down that rabbit hole with them, though. I'm excited about this.
So I can't wait to talk to you about it. So this format that we're going to go through, because we're covering 4 issues, is we're kind of doing it like our character spotlight issues that we've done, if you've listened to those. So we're going to kind of recap the issue as it happened, and then we're going to discuss it a little bit. So hopefully that'll get us through 4 issues of the story in a fair amount of time, because otherwise it would be, we could go for 4 hours talking about each of those episodes.
Really diving into each issue.
Yeah. So those episodes and issues could go long. So we're going to try to get through them as quickly as we can and as thoroughly as we can. But before we get into the Peter David run, we need to get to
the news.
A new 30-second TV spot was released for Supergirl, the movie, featuring...
You have to clarify it.
Yeah,
It's very confusing.
The movie 2026. Because there's another Supergirl, the movie. I love that they dropped Woman of Tomorrow from the title. It makes it easy. It was released for Supergirl, featuring Jason Momoa's Lobo riding his space hog and wielding his recognizable hooked weapon.
Yeah. So Morgan, what did you think about this? So we've been kind of like, well, I shouldn't put you in this. Maybe I can only speak for myself. I'm not thrilled with the Lobo inclusion in the Supergirl movie, and I realized that like he was originally supposed to be in the comic. And so this is them adding him back in. But I hope this all the promotion doesn't become about Lobo. But I'm curious what your thoughts are on some of these shots that we saw.
Listen, Jason Momoa seems like he's having the time of his life.
And
so I do have to love that for him, Mm-hmm. He has always wanted to play Lobo. Apparently it sounds like he kind of pitched himself like, yo bros, how about Lobo? And they were like, sure, you're a very massive man. And so it works. And he looks great as Lobo. He looks like he's having a fun time. Do I want to be watching the Lobo show in my Supergirl movie? Not necessarily. But I think I saw this actually for the first time when it like got released and sort of sent around. We sent it around in our group chat, and I was watching it, and I was like, okay, all right, cool. All right, okay. But then I also saw it while watching playoff football this weekend, and I thought to myself, oh,
That's why they released that.
it's for the boys. Let's hear it for the boys. This one's for you. I was like, oh, okay. The Lobo promo is probably for the playoff football, but I liked seeing a Supergirl commercial this early.
Yeah,
because this is pretty early to start promoting a movie that comes out in like late June, almost July, and 2 during playoff, football.
Yeah.
They're almost down to the Super Bowl, and so I think it was a good sign that they invested that amount of money in a Supergirl promo, because that could not have been cheap. So if they think that Lobo will bring the football bros into the theater to see Supergirl, okay, sure. I'm fine with it. Now, I did get an email from like DC, that like one of their like promo emails, and it was like, it's Lobo time, and it was all about Lobo being in this preview. And then I clicked on it, and they were like, go to the store and get your Lobo merch. And I was like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Go buy the Supergirl merch, please.
How dare you? There are so much Supergirl merch I want, and none of it has Lobo on it. But if this is your Super Bowl, Lobo being on screen, know that there is Lobo merch available already for you.
This is the summer of Supergirl, not the summer of Lobo. I just want to remind everybody.
His time may or may not come, but that's none of our business.
That is none of our concern. That is not for this summer. I think it is smart, to your point, strategically, marketing wise, to put this out. When you told me that you saw it during a football game, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
I like messaged you immediately, and I was like, I just saw the Supergirl preview during the game. It was the Lobo one.
That does make sense, giving the demographic and trying to reach as many eyeballs as possible. If you want to put that in an NFL playoff game, I imagine there's a lot of people watching those games to see their favorite team make it to the Super Bowl. So that is a fair point. That is a good marketing strategy. And to your other point, Morgan, this is pretty early. It's late January, but it's still January for a June release. So this is like 5 months out for the release of the movie. So they've already kind of geared up for that. We did get a few other new shots. We did get kind of a reaction from Supergirl, kind of is seemingly talking about Lobo, and she had kind of an attitude about him, and I really appreciated that. That was very Supergirl, in my opinion, for her to kind of not be thrilled by his presence. So if Supergirl has that attitude about Lobo, I'm going to be really okay with the Lobo inclusion. If she also has kind of a dismissive attitude like I do about Lobo, feel good about it. In addition to the new Supergirl kind of bit there, we also got some new Crypto shots.
Yeah.
So
he looks great.
Right.
Gorgeous.
He looks gorgeous amongst the landscape there. So I don't know what point in the movie this is. This is Crypto without his cape, without his super S-Shield collar.
Oh yeah.
White dog Crypto somewhere in a field with a blue sky. So I don't know where this Crypto is in relation to the story, but we did get some new shots of Crypto. So apparently for the gentleman fans, it's Lobo and Crypto. What they're appealing to.
It's you got to bring out the boys, and in this case, the boys in this movie are Lobo and Crypto.
That's true. The female characters are Supergirl and Ruthie, and the boys really here are Lobo and Crypto.
You know what I think will bring the bros to the theater? Comet. Just saying.
I think Comet is really for everybody, because Comet, I think, would appeal to the bros, to the cowboys, but then also, I think also all the horse girls, little girls who love horses, because all little girls, I'm pretty confident, love horses, and I think also big girls Like
Everybody loves horses.
Everybody loves horses.
They're majestic.
So we still have not seen any kind of reference to Comet. They must be like holding Comet for like a big surprise, like a big reveal.
They're like, this is the one that the people have been waiting for. This is
Don't give it to him too early.
Don't give it to them too early. They'll just be simply too excited.
Meanwhile, the He-Man Masters of the Universe teaser trailer that came out was like, here's Battle Cat in all of his glory. And I was like, this is what I want out of Comet.
Come on, let's get Comet in there. I know they can do it. I see Brian in the chat says low bros.
That's what we're gonna call him now.
That's a really good one. Congratulations. That's what I'm gonna use from now on. We got to bring out the low bros. You know,
we got to get the low bros into going to see the movie. Anybody and everybody needs to go see the Supergirl movie. So that is kind of exciting that we got some new stuff. So hopefully we'll get to see more as things progress. So TV spots are coming out, and we have more to look forward to. Well, I think that's going to take us out of the news section and into our discussion of Supergirl 1996 through 2003, number 6 through 9. So we are going to start with issue number 6. And just going to prepare everybody. This is a wild one. So, well, these 4 issues are really some wild stuff. So hang out with us as we kind of go through this. So Supergirl number 6 is a story titled Trust Fund and was written by Peter David with pencils by Gary Frank. Cam Smith was the inker, Gene D'Angelo was the colorist, Patricia Prentice was the letterer, and Chris Dovey was the editor. So making sure that everybody gets credit for this issue. This issue opens up with Supergirl fighting a really strong, as the issue describes her, bronze lady who has partly shaved red hair. And if you know anything about DC Comics, you would know her as Rampage. She identifies herself as Rampage, and she shouts, "Bruckner, where are you?" Another woman with red hair. There's a lot of ladies with red hair in this issue. She is the other woman with red hair is driving a car and trying to get away from Rampage. So the issue opens up with Supergirl fighting Rampage and some chaos happening. There's a brief mention after that Buzz briefly talks to Dick Malvern, and Dick is really suffering in some agony, and it's getting worse. So that's our little update about Dick Malvern. Hang on to that because it's going to be important in a couple of issues. Meanwhile, Linda's mom, Sylvia, wants to set her up on a blind date. Linda feels like Sylvia is pushing her into something, and she's not really happy about it. This causes Fred, her dad, who is just out of the hospital, he's trying to recover from an injury. He gets upset about the two of them fighting, and he thinks Linda Danvers is reverting back to her old ways. This new version of Linda, who was the, quote, perfect daughter, unquote, with no arguments and no grief, was too good to last. And it kind of is, because Linda and Fred get into a heated argument after this. And Linda seems like she's almost going to tell him that she's Supergirl, but she ends up walking away. Meanwhile,
I thought that this part was so crazy because Sylvia is like, is trying to push a blind date on her daughter who is not interested. Her daughter is like, I'm not that interested. Maybe I met somebody myself. Like maybe I don't even need this blind date. And meanwhile, her dad is like, you are being so terrible right now. You are out of control. It's like, she's out of control. She just doesn't want to go on a blind date.
Yeah.
It's such a weird moment for him to be like, you're just like you used to be. It's like, she used to kill people.
Yeah, she used to be part of a satanic cult. This one's a little better.
I think you can let this go, Fred. I think she's allowed to not go on a date if she doesn't want to. Consent, Fred.
Give her a heads up about this. Yeah, it is kind of I guess from our perspective, a little silly to get upset about. But I think Fred was enjoying, and maybe Sylvia too, like they were enjoying this new Linda. Linda was doing things for other people and caring about people. And old Linda was the worst. And so they are starting to like this new version of Linda, although they don't really realize this is a different version of Linda. They think just Linda happened to survive that thing where they thought she was dead, and she just happens to be alive. They don't know that she actually died and Supergirl merged with her. So
she merged with Supergirl's essence.
Yes. So they don't know all of that complicated stuff about this new version of Supergirl just yet. So after the discussion of the blind date, over at Leesburg Hotel, there is a bioengineering convention going on. In one of the rooms, a Dr. Kitty Faulkner and another woman named Christine, who has red hair and was driving away from Rampage earlier in the issue, they are discussing Star Labs wanting a vision statement typed up by Monday. Dr. Faulkner expresses gratitude for Chris coming into her life and helping her from being so overwhelmed and pulling things together for her. We learn a little bit more about Dr. Faulkner and Star Labs from Clark Kent, who appears in this issue. Clark Kent and Superman play a little bit of a role in this issue. Over at the Daily Planet, Clark is talking about Dr. Faulkner, and he tells us that Faulkner is about to be charged with misappropriation of funds. She is in big trouble. Clark wants to visit Leesburg to let Kitty know about the charges in person so she can hear it from someone she can trust. And he kind of tries to do that as Superman because, of course, hearing it from Superman probably makes it a little less awful. After the fight with Fred, Linda goes to the park where she re-encounters a familiar little boy who wears a hat, glasses, sweater, and a bow tie, and he holds a baseball bat. We've encountered this little boy previously in these issues. Linda and the little boy, they talk about strangers and how strangers can be hiding something even within families, making it seem like this little boy knows about Linda's fight with Fred and almost telling him about her secret identity. As soon as they start the conversation, the little boy's gone. He disappears. They talk for a little bit and then he disappears. And up walks Dick Malvern, who gets the okay to call her Linda. And they start up a conversation and she agrees to call him Dick. And he explains that he is from South Carolina. It's very interesting. I have family from South Carolina. And so I picked up on that and I was like, that's kind of a random thing. Why is that important to tell us that Dick Malvern is from South Carolina? I don't know. Maybe that'll come into play. I don't know.
I was going to say, it feels like something that like, they're like, okay, like take note of this. Like maybe it'll come up later. Not yet.
I don't think much. So it's just kind of an interesting inclusion there. Maybe Peter David had ties to South Carolina. Dick tells Linda about his controlling father and how that behavior cost his father everything, including his wife and his family. Dick says that, quote, some of the worst people had the best intentions, unquote, and that, quote, millions of people have died in the name of God, unquote. Who could have better intentions than God? So they're really having like a pretty serious conversation, Dick and Linda. They're talking about kind of controlling and abusive family members. And then they're talking about theology. So not just a little sort of friendly, casual conversation at the park. They're really getting serious about things.
Some light park conversation.
So things have really gotten deep for them. But they seem to be hitting it off. Linda and Dick seem to enjoy each other's company. So I'm liking that for both of them. It doesn't seem as forced as maybe a blind date setup might be. Before Clark Kent reaches Dr. Kitty Faulkner, she gets a call in her hotel room alerting her to the accusations against her. So Superman doesn't make it before this. The books don't jibe and money's been siphoned off into private accounts of hers. So this is pretty serious for Dr. Faulkner. After some thought, Kitty realizes that the only one who had access to both her office and her private life was Christine. Chris insists that she didn't do it. And when Dr. Faulkner screams, "I trusted you," Chris replies, "I trust in God, Kitty, like it says on the money." So there's a lot of discussion of God in this issue. And at this point, we've gone back to the beginning of the issue where Rampage and Supergirl are fighting. And the lady who we now know is Christine, she is driving away from Rampage. Rampage is still after her. And with Supergirl recovering from her fight with Rampage, this is when Superman shows up. He tries to convince Rampage to avoid the rage and embrace subtlety. But, well, she likes the rage stuff and reveals that Dr. Faulkner was in something called the Rampage Project. So this is something that Dr. Faulkner has been working on at Star Labs, and this is kind of the culmination of that project. So Superman and Supergirl team up to stop Rampage, and Superman allows Rampage to, he kind of puts it in her hands as to what to do about Christine Bruckner. Rampage actually, surprisingly, shows Chris mercy. Superman actually goes to protect Chris during all this, super speeding to shield Chris from Rampage's blow and hit. And Superman tells Kitty that there are people at the Daily Planet who believe her, that she didn't do the things that she has been accused of doing. And at the end of this issue, they do get a confession from Christine. Christine admits that she is the one who moved all the funds around and it wasn't Dr. Faulkner's fault. And the reason this happens, that they get a confession, is because Supergirl holds her upside down and ends up getting all of the bank account information from her. So Supergirl is like, we're just going to end this right now. I'm going to get this confession from her. So in an issue about trust, it ends with Superman still thinking Supergirl is the Matrix Supergirl. He doesn't know that she's merged with a satanic cult member either. and Linda wants to trust Sylvia and agrees to the blind date that her mom wants to set up. The issue's cliffhanger concludes the trust through line through the story, with Buzz approaching Dick Malvern about his nasty, painful disease and tells Dick that he is here to help and asks Dick to trust him. So a lot of people having trust issues, trying to figure out how to trust, who to trust, what to trust them about. So I don't trust Buzz at all. And I don't think anyone should.
You should not trust Buzz, that's for sure.
So we shall see, I guess, in future issues about what happens to Dick Malvern and what his interaction with Buzz may culminate into.
I would also say don't trust Sylvia's matchmaking skills.
She is not very perceptive. She's
not very perceptive.
Yeah. So not really picking up on what Buzz is laying down. So things are going to get a little wild. Okay, so just to move on to Supergirl number 7 here in the Peter David run. This is a story. Let's see. Wait, did I skip the wrong thing? Did I call the wrong thing the wrong thing? Oh wait, this I didn't put the right title in this one. I think this one was called Art History.
Yes,
I didn't put it correctly into the doc, but this is an issue called Art History, number 7 is, and was written by Peter David with pencils by Gary Frank. Cam Smith was the inker, Gene D'Angelo was the colorist, Patricia Princess was the letterer, and Chris Debbie was the editor. So a lot of people, the same people, are kind of working on these issues. In this story titled Art History, Supergirl begins the issue wanting to study Linda Danvers's old art, which is very disturbing, to get that part of Linda that feels like it's hiding in a dark corner, because it probably is, so she can bring it into the light, get a good look at it, and hope it's just not too weird.
It's gonna be.
Linda's art is disturbing and weird, and Supergirl should be really cautious. So when Fred and Sylvia go to talk to Linda and invite her to dinner, she freaks out, thinking she has given away her secret identity to them because she still has her super suit on. Why she didn't get out of that, I don't know. But so they see her with her super suit on. But all is good, though, because they think she's just a big Supergirl fan again. They think she's just wearing like a Supergirl t-shirt. So that is apparently okay. That she
been shopping at the merch store, getting her merch.
I mean, there's probably Supergirl stuff in Leesburg because that's where Supergirl's been hanging out. So it's probably pretty popular. While in Linda's art workshop, which I guess is at their house, it's not really totally explained.
I was going to ask you where you thought the art workshop was. It seems like it's in her parents' basement, but she doesn't live with her parents, right? Like
she does. She did have another apartment.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure this out, but also it feels like her parents have never been down there, and it's the first time they've ever seen it, which feels strange if it's your basement. I don't know.
It could be Linda's like apartment basement, I suppose. So I guess maybe we'll go with that, because I think she would hide some of this weird stuff she'd been working on.
You would think. You would hope. But maybe not.
While in Linda's art workshop, Fred rediscovers an angel statue that brings back some of Linda's memories of her winning first place in an art contest at her church and witnessing the pastor, Reverend Meek, who beat his wife to death, and a bloody carpet that includes a piece of cloth from her dress was removed from the pastor's house. So Linda is recovering some of these memories. I guess Supergirl is recovering some of Linda's memories of this happening, where she sort of witnessed this pastor beating his wife to death.
Crazy.
Yeah,
man, Linda's really, in her short time, she really lived a life, huh? We find out more in this issue, but holy moly.
She has seen some things. And so I think that makes her vulnerable to Buzz. At an outdoor church revival that Linda is attending, she's introduced to Buzz. This is her first encounter with Buzz, who talks about how churches have robbed, persecuted, tortured, and murdered their way across the world, stopping only to collect valuables and play politics. Buzz speaks to Linda in such a way that it seems like he knows about the Reverend Meek's situation and what he did to his wife. And then if Linda said anything, nobody would believe her. So he does seem to have some sense of what Linda has been sort of keeping to herself and what she has experienced and witnessed. So he seems to know more things than he is letting on. Linda says that even if the Reverend is a terrible person, that people should still believe in God. When Linda wants to defend the Bible, Buzz references, and this kind of shocked me. I've read this run before, and I didn't catch it the first time. The reference is of Aleister Crowley, who was a real world occultist. And he had a real, I think the organization that he had was called Thelema. Really, in my opinion, very dangerous, crazy stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think maybe he might have showed up on Legends. I could be lying about this because it's been a while, but I vaguely remember us doing like a little like history segment on the Legends of Tomorrow podcast, now the Legendary Ladies podcast, where we were like did like light research onto Aleister Crowley, and we're like, what in the what? So if you want a wild time, just like pull up that Wikipedia.
Be careful though. If you get down that weird Aleister Crowley rabbit hole, I have been down that rabbit hole. It is you've got to get yourself out of that. It is I read something about how he had at one point like tried to summon these aliens through some magic, and that he opened a portal, and he had seen like those things that people assume that aliens look like. He said like those kind of gray face sort of
sort of alien classic, if you will.
Like alien classic. So he seems to think that he brought those creatures into the world through a portal. Whether you believe that or not, I feel like it's some dangerous stuff. But he has a philosophy within that Thelema organization, which again is a real world occult thing that people had believed, which is the phrase, do what thou wilt shall be the whole law. So Buzz is referencing Aleister Crowley and that sort of Thelema occultic practice. And that was something where I was like, oh my gosh, okay, so this is what we're doing. So what I think is interesting about that is that Peter David is really, in my opinion, making Buzz very scary. Because if you know about Aleister Crowley, to me, that is very scary. And so for Buzz to reference that puts him on just like another level.
Aleister Crowley, if you have eyes to see, he is everywhere. There's a lot of references to him because he was very famous and very wild, the things that he claimed. But Mind the Gap says, I first heard about him with the Ozzy Osbourne song Mr. Crowley. So
I think why am I blanking on the band's name? Like Jimmy Page and all those, is it the Who? Maybe the Who. I feel like one of those rock bands had put him in there in one of their songs, maybe like reversed or something. Like there's some weird thing. I think Jimmy Page was like really into his stuff, but I can't remember if that's correct. So somebody fact check me on that if Jimmy Page does not have an Aleister Crowley connection. But
you are actually correct.
I'm telling you, I've been down the Aleister Crowley rabbit hole.
You are. Somebody did like a midnight Wikipedia rabbit hole, but according to the AI overview, which everyone should take,
completely trustworthy,
could be hallucinating. It says Jimmy Page's fascination with occultist Aleister Crowley led him to collect his works by his former home.
Yep.
And incorporate his themes of self-liberation and true will into his music. So, reflecting his deep interest in Crowley's Thelema philosophy.
Thelema, I think is how
or Thelema. It says, which though he largely kept it private from the other band members. Which I think is very
probably would.
I think it's very funny. He was like, "Oh my god, I'm like so into this. I'm like so obsessed." And they're like, "What are you obsessed with, Jimmy?" He's like, "No, nothing much." Nothing much. It's like when you're talking to somebody, when I'm like talking to somebody really smart and like I'm not like, hey, did you see the newest season of Mormon Wives? Like, oh my god, Jesse is wild. Like, I'm not doing that. This is probably Jimmy Page being like, you know what? This is my niche interest. I don't need to share that with everyone.
Yeah. So don't go down that rabbit hole. Just learn from my lesson that doesn't need to happen. But yeah, so this is some real world occultic stuff that is tied to Buzz's character. And it wasn't until after, I guess, I did that Aleister Crowley rabbit hole that I caught onto that do what thou wilt is very much an Aleister Crowley kind of thing.
So I have one last Aleister Crowley fun fact, which is that
is it a fun fact?
Maybe. I looked up Jimmy Page, Aleister Crowley, and then I was just scrolling down, and there was a news article, and I was like, "How could there possibly be news from 5 days ago?" But the news is that Jimmy Page and Aleister Crowley's Loch Ness home is open to the public.
I would not step foot in that place.
If you are in Scotland, if you would like to see a Scottish manor and you feel secure in the bad vibes that might be there.
That's putting it lightly.
You could go. It's like the people who go to the like what are they called? Like the people from The Conjuring.
Yes, there's a museum that has like the Annabelle.
Yeah, that has like the Annabelle doll, and like people will go to that, and I'm just like, okay.
I'm not stepping foot in that place that has the Annabelle doll. Forget it.
Not for me. Not for me.
I'm not even entering. I'm not gracing that doorway.
Creepy doll is not how I want to go out. But maybe like Aleister Crowley, dark magic is how you want to go out. So now it's open that you can go tour the house.
Not appealing to me whatsoever. But maybe
fresh facts from 5 days ago.
I think I also heard one time that Doctor Strange was based on Aleister Crowley. I don't know if that's something that the AI overview would also.
Maybe.
So if somebody wants to fact check that and look it up, I think there is also a Doctor Strange from Marvel Comics connection to him. So I do think that even though it's in my opinion, a very dangerous thing that they were playing around with the occult, I think what Peter David is doing is he's trying to, in my opinion, he's trying to really establish like Buzz is a very bad guy. And Buzz is messing around with things that are very, very bad and very dangerous. And things when Linda is being sort of tempted by him, I guess, and sort of pursued by him, it's very dangerous that she is doing that. And I think we kind of see that as things progress. So I think Peter David sort of relying on some of those real world things is trying to make a point about how scary and dangerous Buzz is. Because when I read that, I was like, oh, yep, that puts it on another level. That really does.
I like it when I don't pick up on something, but then like I learn about it and it gives it like another layer to the story. So like if you know anything about Aleister Crowley, you might pick up on that philosophy. But if you don't, you can still like enjoy the issue. But then if you find out about it, it's like, wow, that adds another layer to that character and like what Peter David was doing with this Buzz character. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, and it's funny because I read this run probably 7-8 years ago, And so I hadn't picked it up since. And so I guess, once you have some knowledge about something and then you pick it back up, like the readability, is that a word?
I think so. I think we could make it one.
The rereadability of this, I think for me is kind of interesting because I'm sort of connecting dots that I didn't connect previously. Okay. So I guess we're going to keep talking about Buzz for a second. So, and this issue, Morgan, when we split up these issues, I was like, I think I got maybe one of the ones that was kind of the most difficult to talk
I think
about.
you did, honestly. I was like, as I was reading that issue, I was like, oh boy, poor Rebecca.
this is a little difficult to describe. So I'm trying to make everything kind of PG in the way I talk about it. So Buzz takes Linda. So he's encountered her at this outdoor revival, and he's been talking to her about the Aleister Crowley philosophy and all this stuff. Buzz takes Linda to a place where there is a lot of, I would say, cult stuff happening. You could, maybe say that other things were happening as well. But I'm not going to get into that. You can read the issue for yourself if you want to see those visuals. This introduction, if you know anything about the Thelema, the Lima stuff with Aleister Crowley, I think it's very close to that. I think it's what it's trying to mimic. There's like a Baphomet head on the wall and like an all-seeing eye, and it's very occultic and, in my opinion, kind of scary. So I was kind of like, skip, go past. So there's some cult stuff happening that Buzz is taking Linda to this place too. And this introduction to Buzz and his occultic friends, who they're sacrificing a chicken while wearing robes. He leads her into a, quote, world which grows darker still as the years go by, unquote. There's an insinuation that Linda ends up killing Reverend Meek as Buzz sort of eggs her on about it. He's trying to kind of get her riled up. And Supergirl really struggles. The present day Supergirl is really struggling with having Linda's evil actions in her memories, and she doesn't know what to do about it. And she tries to physically get rid of these memories by throwing one of Linda's highly disturbing art pieces into the ocean. And when I say it's like disturbing, this art piece,
it's so strange.
It's like either dead people or like demons, like screaming, and they're all like intertwined, and it's just like, why would somebody make that as art? It's very, very disturbing. And so the issue ends. Supergirl tries to throw this disturbing art piece into the ocean to get rid of it, but at the end of the issue, Linda invites Dick Malvern to dinner with her parents, but his surprise, I guess, his car and his phone just happen to die, so he doesn't make it. What does end up at the Danvers home, though, is a package that did come for Linda. It was delivered for Linda, and it's from Buzz, because we see that the card has a bee on it with like red devil eyes. And so it's from Buzz, and he has returned this disturbing art piece that she tried to get rid of. So Supergirl tries to get rid of this dark part of Linda's history, but Buzz is trying to bring it back up and kind of throw it in her face. And so that's how the issue ends. So Buzz, I think, really reveals himself in this one. But and then I think he tells his origin a little bit later. I think you're going to cover those. But he is not a good guy. Just not a good guy.
Not a nice man. I'm just going to go out and say Buzz is not a nice guy.
He is not cool.
Not cool. In the Rise said there was a documentary that claimed Doctor Strange and Aleister Crowley were connected, but it seems more along the lines of satanic panic comics or evil stuff than actual fact.
Okay.
So that maybe is where that came from. And also, Mind the Gap says comic writers are obsessed with little strange things, like in Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum. Crowley meets Amadeus Arkham in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Crowley was Harry Potter's Voldemort. So
I can't emphasize enough that Aleister Crowley was a very, very bad guy, and I don't know why people want to put him in these stories.
I guess as a villain though,
I guess that could
he
make
would
sense.
be like a pretty good villain.
Yeah, I guess you could put him in that. Yeah.
I think people find writers and artists find him fascinating, which is how because the kind of the occult stuff is kind of crazy, and then you again that Wikipedia rabbit hole. I remember like skimming it and being like, what? So I'm not surprised that he's made his way into like various media as especially like various media that has to do with like magic.
If you want to go down a weird rabbit hole with Aleister Crowley, look up I forget it has a name. It's like the gray alien. Look it up, because I think the gray alien may have had a name, and he had opened the portal and the aliens came through. So, take it for what it is, I guess. But if you want to go down a kind of a weirder part of that Aleister Crowley rabbit hole, that one was even weirder. So
like there's the dark magic portion, there's the alien part.
Both everything's are equally disturbing. Everything is very culty. Yes. So Morgan, do you want to take us into issue number 8?
Of course. Speaking of our good buddy Buzz, a lot of him in issue number 8. So Supergirl number 8 is a story titled My Dinner with Buzz. Spoiler alert. And was written by Peter David with pencils by Gary Frank. Cam Smith was the inker. Jean D'Angelo was the colorist. Patricia Patrice was the letterer. And Chris Duffy was the editor. So same team as pretty much all of the issues we've covered so far.
Which I think is awesome, because I think there's a consistency and a kind of a dedication to the vision of the story that kind of goes when you have the same team with it.
Yeah, I really like it, because sometimes you'll get a trade and you'll like flip halfway through and suddenly everything looks different. And so what I really do like the consistency of the art and the colors and everything, because they have the same creative team that has been working across these last, I think, 9 issues. So that's nice. The issue opens with Sylvia, who is Linda's mom, surprising Linda with the fact that her blind date is showing up to dinner that night right now. So Linda isn't very happy about that. And she's especially not happy that both of her parents are really on Dick's case about his car trouble in a way that is like unkind. According to her dad, if Dick was on top of his regular car maintenance, he could have avoided the problem of his car and cell phone shutting down at the same time.
I'm pretty sure it was Buzz causing those things to die.
I feel like this is probably not.
It was probably not Dick's fault.
Not Dick. Really strange that they don't seem to care at all that when they set up this blind date, that Linda is wearing like teeny tiny gym shorts and a sports bra, and that's what she's gonna have to wear on this date now. Like everybody else is dressed up, and Linda looks like she's about to go to a cardio kickboxing class. So that's what I would be maybe most upset about.
It would be one of those things like, hey, can I go change?
Hey, could I borrow anything else, please? Literally tiny shorts, tiny sports bra. She even has sneakers on and a headband, so it does feel like she came straight from the gym.
But maybe once she saw that it was Buzz, she was like, I'm not gonna dignify this by getting like dressed up.
Oh my god. So let me Linda is shocked to open the door to see her blind date and discover Buzz. He looks like really smarmy, and Linda doesn't want to let him in, but Buzz already knows Sylvia, and Sylvia is low-key obsessed with Buzz.
Yes, they've met previously.
And then everyone makes sure to mention that Buzz, unlike some other people, is right on time, which is a solid burn. Mind the Gap in the chat says the shot of Buzz at the door is a reference to Amazing Spider-Man, where Peter first met Mary Jane, and she said, "Face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot." So that's fun. I didn't pick
pulling
that up.
The wrong thing. Where is the dinner with Buzz? Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't pick this up because I'm not like all that well versed in Spider-Man lore, but I think that that's really fun. I like that they like put in references like that some people will get, and some people it'll just fly over their heads.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up later.
Okay. So Linda sees that Sylvia opening the box Buzz brought and runs over to tell her not to open it. Sylvia's confused because after all, it's just flan for dessert. Linda has no idea what to do with Buzz, who Sylvia mentions saved her during the whole, monkey apocalypse, which they're mostly referred to as like the dark day. No one wants to mention how everybody got apeified.
Don't talk about it. If you don't talk about it, it didn't happen.
We can't talk about that time we were all apes. Linda whispers to Buzz that he's lucky she doesn't crush his fingers when he takes her hand. He says she's lucky she doesn't because that would take a lot of explaining to do. And then Sylvia is like, look, they're whispering. How romantic.
At this point, I would probably risk outing myself as Supergirl.
Yeah, I
Get
think
this
so
guy
too.
out of my house.
We just got to get him out. Get this weirdo out of the house. Also, Sylvia is so bad at at judging context clues and
Yes.
body language. She's like, they love each other, and they're like glaring daggers at each other. At dinner, Fred asks about Buzz, and Buzz says he's a philosopher. Fred is already like, oh boy, all right, never mind. I don't like you. I don't care that you're on time. I don't like you. So already he's lost Fred. So Fred is confused that he can make any money that way. And Sylvia says she thought he was a teacher. When they ask about his philosophy, he says that his philosophy is that everyone is ridiculous, that all of humanity is ridiculous, and we all take ourselves too seriously. Linda says she thinks that perspective is fatalistic, and Fred wonders if Buzz and Linda already know each other because they keep snipping at each other.
Fred seems to be picking up on this more than Sylvia is.
Fred, more than Sylvia, is like, you two crazy kids seem to hate each other. What's going on here? Fred is talking about later on, Fred is talking about a medal he got for pulling a kid out of a burning building. Buzz asks if he was scared, and Fred says, of course he was scared. Linda saying that it wouldn't be bravery if he wasn't scared. She asks what makes Buzz scared, and he says that he's seen it all. Lots of scary stuff, like people pulled out of churches destroyed by earthquakes, victims of violence, people beheaded. Fred is finally like, Sylvia, girl, who is this weirdo? Why have you invited him to my home? Who is this person? I like that Fred is immediately starting to turn and be like, you know what? I've had enough for tonight.
Is anyone listening to what he's actually saying?
It's
Are you listening to the words that are coming out of his mouth?
The things that Buzz are saying are so insane. And yet Sylvia is just like, he's just provocative. He's pushing the envelope. It's like, all right, Joe Rogan. When they have a second alone, Supergirl slams Buzz's head into the desk in a side room and threatens him. Buzz says he won't do anything to her and that the difference between them is, I know what I am and embrace it. You know what you aren't and reject it. Which Linda says he sounds like a fortune cookie, and I can't disagree. But Buzz is like, no, that was deep. Think about it. Back at the table, Buzz is now doing 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, this was random.
This dinner has taken several strange turns. And Linda asks if he can connect himself to Kevin Bacon. He's like, I'm not an actor. And Linda's like, aren't you? Are you showing your true nature? Every part of the conversation at this dinner table is so weird. So many red flags constantly flying. Red flags. Fred is so done with Buzz. It's hilarious. He's like, he'll probably just say something weird again. And then guess what he does? Because that's Buzz's whole vibe. So Buzz is like, I'm going to tell you my whole backstory. Let's say this is a thought experiment where we're all thinking weird stuff. And Fred is like, oh my God, not now. So Buzz then gives his backstory, saying that a couple years back, Lucifer, he went on ahead and closed up hell, and all the demons followed him to Earth. And then one became a businessman, an agent of chaos. His goal was to stir up trouble, but he needed an opposite force from his chaos. And that opposite force was an angel. So in the panel where he's talking about the angel, it shows Supergirl as he talks about this. He says, the demon had ties to humanity, and the angel needed ties to humanity as well. The demon had a streak of good in him, so the angel needed a streak of evil. Fred's like, I've had it. This is the weirdest dinner table conversation of my whole life.
It truly is. If you were at a dinner party and this guy like recounted the story of like demons and Lucifer, and it would start to seem like this guy was telling you something from his his actual experience.
You would be like, what have I done? Why did I invite this weirdo over to my house? Am I okay? And the answer is no, and you shouldn't have. Also, for whatever reason, I had never noticed how incredibly long Buzz's face was until this issue, where his face is like, they say people have like a horse face, like a long face. This is the longest face I've ever seen on a person. So I think that alone, I'd be like, I don't know about this guy. This guy has real like demon face. And then he goes and heads and tells you the strangest story you've ever heard.
It is interesting though that Buzz talks about the one demon who like starts a business. So he's like a businessman who wears a suit. And it's like that's kind of an interesting thing for like a demon to do. He like wanted to be an entrepreneur, I guess.
He was like,
start a small business.
He was like, listen, Lucifer closed up hell, and I thought now is the time to get really into crypto.
Somebody's got to make money here.
I'd buy it. He became a crypto bro. He got like a bunch of what were they called when everybody was buying basically JPEGs?
No, yeah. I forget, like artwork or something.
He bought a bunch of JPEGs for $100,000, and then he got real into crypto. It is very funny that he's like, I was a business demon. It's like, I mean, haven't you just described all business people? So Fred is really done with this conversation, and now Buzz has lost Sylvia because Sylvia doesn't like talking about the whole demon thing. Like that's a bridge too far.
She is a good, godly Christian woman who goes to church and helps out the reverend of their church. So this would be unsettling for her.
She's like, whoa! I was there with you on the beheadings. I lost you at the demons. He apologizes. He says he's just being crazy. Like, imagine if he said that Supergirl had merged with their daughter. Crazy like that. Meanwhile, him and Supergirl just kind of glaring at each other over the table, and her parents are like, weird night. Fred decides now is the time to eat the flan. Let's get to dessert. Let's wrap this up.
Let's get to the end of this thing.
But Linda makes Buzz take a bite first. It's like, just in case you poison this thing.
Well, if you knew a demon had come to your house for dinner, I would be suspicious of the dessert too.
I think you got to spike that dessert like a football in the end zone. You got to throw that right in the trash. I'm sorry, Flan. I don't care how long Buzz spent making that thing. So just to sort of cap off the dinner, the craziest dinner of all time, Buzz starts talking about the dramatic 3-act story structure, which
a little meta here, I think.
Little meta. If you've ever wanted to really impress somebody at a dinner and seem like you're super normal, start talking about the dramatic 3-act story structure and where you personally would be in the 3-act story structure. It's going to be a crowd pleaser. It's gonna make you friends and influence people.
Next time we go to dinner, Morgan, I think we should do this.
I think we should be like, where do you think we are in the dramatic? Are we at the turning point yet? Buzz explains how the setup is in Act 1, and then the struggle between characters in the second act, and then the turning point in the second act that sets up the ticking clock into motion as we head into the third act. Sylvia is like, I don't quite understand your provocative ways, Buzz. So Buzz is like, don't worry, I'll give you a practical demonstration. Now, that's never a good sign. That is never a good sign at all.
Ticking clock is not a phrase that you want to hear.
You don't want to, certainly not from somebody who low-key mentioned he's a demon.
A business demon, though.
Earlier, a business demon. He's gonna make you get out the Q1 projection. He's gonna make you put together a slide deck. It's the worst kind of demon, honestly. Buzz snaps his fingers and there's an explosion that knocks the whole family off the table. So pretty dramatic. And then all of a sudden, a new person shows up. Now this it's a man. He kind of shows up kind of in like a twister. He's got like real Dragon Ball Z, like Goku hair.
Yeah.
And he has some like weapons. And Buzz introduces him as Tempest, as in Tempest Fugit. Is that how you would say it?
I would say I've heard Tempest Fugit.
Fugit, yeah.
Yeah.
So which means, of course, time flies. Okay, cool. I learned a fun fact, even though you destroyed sort of the outside of my house.
Yeah.
So sort of a mixed bag on this dinner party. He says this is the second act turning point, and things will need to be resolved quickly because time has run out. Dun dun dun. And that is the wrap up of this issue.
Yes, that's the end of the craziest dinner party of all time. Morgan, what are your thoughts on the look of Tempest Fugit?
So when I first saw him, I was like, wow, already a lot of look. He's got like black hands and they almost look like they're tattooed. He's got like I said, he's got like the Dragon Ball Z hair. It's blue, but it's like spiked straight up. He's got some like size, I guess, in his hands.
Yeah.
And he's in a tornado. You don't notice until much later that he's like not wearing any pants at all.
There's not a lot of clothes.
Just not any pants to be seen. He's got no shirt. He's got no pants. He's wearing like a teeny tiny little pair.
Like a Speedo, I would say.
Yeah, a little pair of Speedos. He kind of looks like the people who dive from like high up.
Yes, like I did like a diver in the Olympics.
He looks like a high diver in the Olympics. He's like a really jacked high diver in the Olympics, only evil. It's not my favorite look.
I don't know why you need to give him that look. Would he be different if he wore pants?
I think I guess he'd be warmer.
Would he be less scary if he wore pants?
I do feel like him not wearing pants does undercut the frighteningness to me, like just a little bit. Like take it. I'm having a hard time taking a guy seriously in just a tiny little pair of underwear, but
yeah, I don't know. It didn't make much sense to me, but maybe there is an
also
explanation.
I'm not like reading the time/clock theme in his outfit. Like his whole thing is like time's running out, but it's like is that what you said when you ran out the door this morning? But not
he didn't have enough time to put his pants on.
There's no time, he yelled. I don't know. I've seen better supervillain outfits. Let's put it that way.
I think maybe having a connection to time or clocks or something would have been more appropriate.
Yeah, that's what I feel like I would have expected, honestly. But that's not the direction that they decided to go in, which is fine.
Okay, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because I was like, I don't love his look.
Maybe he was like, okay, Supergirl is in her little gym outfit. I'll wear my little gym outfit.
Maybe he was just matching her.
He's just, matching energies. Yeah. Which brings us to Supergirl number 9. So Supergirl number 9 is a story titled Tempest Fugit. And written by Peter David, pencils by Gary Frank. Cam Smith is the inker. Jean D'Angelo is the colorist. Patricia Patrice was the letterer. Chris Duffy is the editor. So same creative team. So the issue starts with who I'm calling right now, little baseball boy, little baseball bat boy. He's at the dinner table with his grandparents. He says he has to go out after dinner tonight to help a friend, and his grandparents tell him, little baseball bat boy, you're always being so mysterious.
Doesn't he say something to the effect of like he has mysterious ways? He works.
He does. He's like, I am mysterious.
He
says, well, I do like to move in mysterious ways.
So just keep that in the back of your mind when you think about when people say someone moves in mysterious ways.
Like our friend, little baseball bat boy. Now we do find out his name, which is Wally.
Yes.
So he says he has to go out and help out his friend. they agree. They're like, okay, that's fine. And he runs out. He puts on his little bowler hat. He grabs his little baseball bat and he runs out the door. And then Grandpa says, listen, I'm just happy Wally has any friends at all, which is a brutal burn from Grandpa. I feel like that's, jeez, Grandpa.
Wally is not very sociable, and maybe people don't like him.
No, not really. But you know what? He's got that baseball bat, and he does have mysterious ways, which we'll learn a little bit
I feel
later.
like
in this
Wally's
issue.
saying, hey, come play with me. I've got a baseball bat. I've got half of the game ready to go.
Exactly.
Like, put me on your team.
Put me in, coach. He's ready.
He wants to make friends.
He just wants to make some friends. So we cut to the title card as Linda is blaming herself for not acting sooner to take out Buzz and trying to protect her instead trying to protect her identity. Now she says her parents have paid the price. Well, their home certainly has.
Yes, completely destroyed.
Because Tempest Fugit is just sort of sitting in the middle of like the you can see right to the outside of the house now, and he's just sort of standing there with his two weapons, like, what now? The only thing that marks him as a time-based villain is that he's got like a little like
a sand. What did they call those?
Yeah, what are they called? Like little sand clocks. Yeah,
what
the ones that you.
Yeah.
I wish I could remember words.
I forget what hourglass is.
Hourglass.
Yes. I can only remember that because of the Days of Our Lives opening. Stands
Nice.
through the hourglass. That's the only way I remember that.
It's always good to be a podcaster who can't remember what the words for anything is. It's my unique challenge. Both Sylvia and Fred look pretty beat up as Buzz just sits at the table, and then Tempest Fugit does like a little twirl in his tiny underpants with his big size. He's like, hello, it's me. Supergirl's not impressed, and so she throws a psi blast at him. And then she looks around and she notices Buzz is gone, which feels, of course he is. She also thinks that somehow Tempest Fugit looks familiar. She's like, that guy, I don't know. Something about him, something about his vibe. I don't know. Fred is awake and tells Linda to call 911 while he sees to Sylvia. In her head, Buzz says the time has come for Linda, her friends, and all of Leesburg.
Well, that's ominous.
That doesn't seem good at all, to be honest. Sylvia can't believe that she was so wrong about Buzz.
How can she not believe this, though? Like,
Yeah,
it took her a long time.
It's like, yeah, he was just a weird creep constantly pushing the envelope. Who could have seen this coming?
Do you think she didn't realize it until the house blew up?
I think
Or
so. I think
had she gotten there a little bit before?
I think that was she's like, oh, he was just being so provocative. Telling us about when he was expelled from hell. Like, oh, Sylvia, come on, girl. Come on. Linda tells Fred that she's going to go after Buzz. She promises as soon as she sees a cop or Supergirl, she'll let them take over. And Fred is so proud of her that she is taking after him. And he tells her that he loves her. And they have a very touching moment. And they hug. And it's like a really nice moment because Fred and Linda, they don't get along very well.
Yeah.
Linda, it turned out, in her spare time, did some cult stuff and some murdering.
Yes.
Fred was kind of a jerk. Let's be honest. Fred's kind of a jerk. And so they always sort of oil and water. So it's nice for them to have this moment where Fred is really proud of her. And Linda is like, that's my dad. Hold on to that feeling. Because Linda leaves the house thinking that Buzz couldn't have gone very far when it looks like the house explodes behind her. Uh-oh.
Yes, there is another explosion.
Not good. So many explosions. Tempest Fugit is just blowing things up left, right, and center. We now cut to the Leesburg Tribune, where Cutter, our good pal Cutter, is doing a happy dance because he's finally paid his last alimony payment, which I guess good for you, bud.
Yeah, I guess we got to keep up with what's going on in his personal life.
It felt really important to know at this particular moment. So he asks Stacy out. Stacy's sort of in the office with him, starting to understand why he's divorced. And and she screams, and he's like, oh, this is why I don't date. But then he hears that there's a fire at the Danvers place and says he is right on it. He's like running out because he knows the Danvers. Elsewhere, Tempest Fugit is mad at Buzz. He said they had a bargain and that Buzz promised them a fallen angel. So it's like this, this took me a little bit when I was reading the issue and I didn't get it here. I was like, what's going on? But it turns out that like there is like something possessing Tempest Fugit. And it is like I don't know, dark forces. And the dark forces are telling Buzz that they had a bargain and that Buzz promised them a fallen angel within a specific time frame, which is a very Tempest Fugit kind of thing to say.
Yeah.
And that his time grows short. So I'm wondering if like the time, they can't help themselves when they're in Tempest Fugit to do like time puns.
Yes, I
They're
think
like,
that's probably
I have
part of
to.
it.
I have to now. Buzz says he's on it, and Tempest wonders if Buzz has feelings for Supergirl. And then Tempest like burps out some black sludge. It initially wasn't clear to me when I was going through this issue what was happening, but now I think that was him like being non-possessed by the dark entity.
I think once you get to the reveal of Tempest Fugit, maybe that will start to
I
make
feel like
sense.
I feel like poor Tempest Fugit, we're getting ahead of ourselves, but Tempest Fugit is gotten like possessed like 3 times over. Tempest Fugit is basically just a Russian nesting doll of possessions. So then Buzz starts to say that Tempest should go to the hospital next, but then he sees Wally standing on the street and tells Tempest to get him because that kid's annoying, which is rude, but also what his grandpa thinks. But when Tempest knocks his like sai together and sends fire his way, Wally just knocks it right back with his bat. Home run.
Yeah, he did have a reason to have that bat.
Yeah, you got to get up pretty early in the morning to get past old Wally. So now we're back at the Danvers home, and Cutter is there, and he is in shock because he says that no one could have survived that explosion, like nothing could have survived. But then they see a ball of fire flying off from the house, like away from the house, and they're like, "Was it a comet?" No, it's Supergirl, and she is mad.
You would know it was a comet if it was a horse.
Yes. If it did you hear a neigh, perhaps? Supergirl is really spiraling out at the moment. She's really losing it. She thinks, I don't want to be Supergirl anymore. Supergirl, let him live. To hell with Supergirl, she thinks. Supergirl died with the Danvers. I'm Linda Danvers. Linda, who died in flames and was reborn in flames. I know evil. I was evil. And I know the only thing evil understands is punishment and death. So Supergirl is going to a dark place right now. Supergirl is like, I am tapping into my Linda Danvers. Things are going badly.
At least she's being somewhat like self-aware. She's kind of coming to terms with what she is now, I guess.
She's like, I'm tapping into my dark side. I'm fully tapping into my dark side. Things are gonna get crazy. At the hospital, Tempest Fugit is chasing Linda's friend Maddie through the corridors, and poor Maddie trips like every horror movie cliche.
Yep.
But before he can kill her, Supergirl appears to save her. But this time, she tries to do that psi blast, and it doesn't work. So Tempest cuts Supergirl with his psi, and she's shocked to be bleeding. She's like, "Uh-oh, you made me bleed my own blood." He tries to bring them down on her again, and she catches them in her hands. Like she catches the blades in her hands.
So I think it should
gnarly.
I think it should be mentioned she is cut in her side, kind of in the the side, and then she's also cut in her hands.
Oh, you know what? I
did
not pick up on that.
I think visually in a couple of panels from now, that will become important.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out. Because when I was going through this, I didn't pick up on that. I was just like, oh God, that would hurt so bad. But yeah, she gets cut on her hands, on her palms, and she has gotten cut on her side. So things aren't going great for her. As she fights to hold Tempest Fugit back, she thinks that Supergirl died with Linda. She thinks to herself, instead of saving her, we're burning together. She says that the world is a sick cosmic joke. The reality of the world is it's sick and depraved. People look to the skies for answers from superheroes, but at the end of it, God is insane and he made us in his image, she thinks. Supergirl is, I put crashing out here, as the kids would say.
The kids would say that, yes.
The kids would say that. She's having a real bad time. She's going to a very dark place. And the panels where she is thinking all of this, they have kind of like all of these people behind her. I think they have like Superman and the Kents and her parents and her friends, and they all look evil.
They're really scary, yeah.
Very scary artwork, very frightening panel, to be honest. At this moment, who should appear but the voice of Linda. So Linda, like a big picture of like Linda's face is in the background of this battle. And Linda is talking in Supergirl's mind, and she's telling Supergirl she's wrong. She says Supergirl's the most human creature she's ever known. And now that she's seen the world through Supergirl's eyes, she's learned so much. Supergirl says she's learned it doesn't mean anything. She said she sacrifices and people die. She shows mercy and people die. She says love begets hate and trust begets betrayal. She says this time she's not going to show any mercy. But I thought that the twist that like Linda, who she's been kind of trying to blame this on, she's like, I'm just going to tap into my Linda Danvers side. I'm going to be doing some cult killings. But Linda is in there rattling around in Supergirl's head. And she's like, first off, I didn't tell you to do that. And secondly, because I've been in here, because I've been seeing through your eyes, I have become a better person and I have seen the error of my ways. So I thought it was interesting that that Supergirl earlier in the issue is like, I thought I could rehabilitate it. I thought I could rehabilitate Linda, but really like we're both down here in the darkness, and Linda is inside of her saying, no, like I have been rehabilitated. Like I do see things differently now that I have like your influence. So I like this part of the issue.
Yeah, it's showing that Supergirl does have a way of inspiring someone and giving someone who has done some really terrible things and has seen some really terrible things a little bit of hope, even though it's a little bit confusing because like Linda, I guess what the issue is saying, like Linda didn't technically die. I guess she's just in there somewhere.
I think that they've kind of merged, maybe, but like they still are kind of two separate entities. Like Linda's still rattling around in there. I think in your crazy issue, Supergirl sort of just gets all of these memories that Linda had of all these bad things that Linda saw and all these bad things that Linda did. So I think that like Linda is more, instead of them being like one united entity, Linda's more kind of like rattling around in there.
Yeah.
But I think rattling around in there has actually been beneficial to Linda. Linda's like, I've seen through your eyes and now I don't feel this way about people and about humanity anymore.
Yeah. So even if Supergirl's struggling with it, she seems to be having a positive effect on Linda at some level. So that's good.
So on top of the building, Buzz says that Supergirl is almost ready. He wonders if the Dark Lords are finally happy now because doing this to Supergirl, he says, is like drawing a mustache on the Mona Lisa. Okay, Buzz. I mean, you didn't have to do anything, really. This is all your fault. Supergirl begins to beat the absolute crap out of Tempest Fugit, just like really, really wailing on him. Buzz says that he always saw the potential in both Supergirl and Linda, that they were the perfect meeting of the minds. But then Buzz seems to waver. He says, this is his way. Sure, but is it hers? He says one of them will win out, Supergirl or Linda. At the end of this, there will only be one between Linda and Supergirl, but the question is which one. So Supergirl stops hitting Tempest Fugit and stands up. The demonic voice uses Tempest to yell at Buzz. So these sort of dark demonic figures say that they almost had Supergirl, and she just had to kill their proxy, and then they'd have access to her power, and her untapped potential would have been all theirs. Now they say that Buzz is actually gonna pay. So in a strange way, Buzz has kind of talked Supergirl out of killing Tempest Fugit. He's like, I mean, before you do it, you sure? And she's like, good point. Actually, no, I'm not. So that's sort of all it took. But I do think that this this part where she's fighting Tempest Fugit and she's like wailing on him, it's very scary. Like the backgrounds are really moving a lot. There's a lot of like scary faces behind her of like her loved ones, but they look evil. I think that this, visually this part is very like kind of disturbing, which I think works really well for the story.
And I think it should be visually mentioned also that her eyes are like, like on
like
fire. There's like flames coming. It's not necessarily like heat vision. There's like fires, like flames coming out of her eyeballs. So that could also potentially be something that comes into play as well.
Yeah. So when she finally gets up, like she's crying, but the fire is gone at that point. So that's how like she's kind of been like, okay, hold on. What am I doing? So Buzz tries to negotiate with these sort of dark forces, but it's kind of too late. It's too late for old Buzz because they pull him up into a tornado that suddenly starts up. So Supergirl knows she should be relieved that Buzz will be punished, but she has to know why he stopped her. She wants to understand. So as he disappears up the tornado, he says, I'm clean out of answers, love. Sometimes you have to take things on faith. Then there's a giant explosion, and Supergirl lies next to Tempest Fugit with the shadow of a small boy holding a baseball bat falling over her. Who could that be, perhaps? Linda wakes up to the sound of a telephone. She's back in her apartment. What? In bed next to her is Dick Malvern. Linda figures out like so quickly, almost too quickly, that he was Tempest Fugit under a thrall from Buzz. She's like, oh yeah, that must have been Tempest Fugit under a thrall from Buzz. It's like, wait, what? Why would you jump to that conclusion?
That is why he looks so familiar.
That's why he looks so familiar. I knew Dragon Ball hair.
Yeah, Supergirl essentially beats the crap out of Dick Malvern.
Yep, which, okay. Sure. That's what he gets for a lot of that Silver Age stuff.
Yeah.
So he's pulling shenanigans, and she didn't like it anymore. The phone's ringing, so she goes to pick it up. And who is it? It's Fred. What? He and Sylvia are wondering if she's coming to dinner. And they're kind of puzzled. She's asking if the house is blown up. They're like, of course the house is. What are you talking about? Of course the house is fine. What flan? So who knows what happened, but perhaps we reset something, or perhaps something got undone. But Fred agrees that they can have dinner another night. And when he hangs up, he tells Sylvia that Linda is the flightiest girl he's ever known, which I have to say, big ups, good pun.
Flighty is pretty good, yeah.
Because she does fly.
She does fly,
she is
yes.
Very flighty. Sylvia says that when you make a child, you do the best you can, and then you just have faith. It'll all work out in the end. So as she says this, Wally walks down the street outside with his baseball bat, and a newspaper in the foreground seems to read, I was trying to look at it really hard because it's kind of cut off, but it says, Gary, thanks for your support, which I think is probably a reference to Gary Frank.
Yeah, it even looks like maybe it starts with an F.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It does look like it's saying Gary Frank.
Yeah. So that could be an Easter egg to them. Now, I think it's very interesting. These last couple of issues really leaned hard into the faith aspect of this story and sort of the good versus evil, angels and demons kind of scenario, which I think will continue to be something that happens. I really thought it was interesting. I don't guess we explicitly said it, but Supergirl being sort of cut in the side and having her hands bleeding is very much, with her hands outstretched, that's very much like a Christ-like pose that's happening there. And then the idea that like this little boy Wally works in mysterious ways, that's very much a reference to God. And so it sounds like he's trying to call himself or claiming to be God, where he's kind of being a thorn in the demon side. So a lot of these things are very interesting to me, and I think that's partly why I enjoy this run so much, is that it really it's trying to do something, whether you like it or not. Like, it's actually trying to like tell a story with these kinds of beings, and really trying to lean into something. So these 4 issues, I think, are some of the ones that really kind of leans heavily into that imagery, and tries to get you in the place where, like, this is what we're dealing with. These are the kind of supernatural things. I mean, Supergirl in herself is a supernatural being, but I think here we get like really kind of supernatural, real world kind of things happening. So Morgan, what's your take on these? I mean, this is wild stuff here.
Wild stuff, wild issues, all of them wild issues. I think this is one of our first mentions of Supergirl as an angel. And I've heard that perhaps that's a part of this run. So I was kind of excited at that first mention. I was like, oh, as you mentioned, there's like a lot throughout the whole run, but I think these issues in particular have been a lot of mentions of faith, of God, of like religion and the church. And so I like that sort of the through line of that. I think that he's, trying to tell a story about faith, about, the good and the bad of it. I think that he doesn't really shy away from some of the more negative parts of how faith on earth, can materialize. We had the preacher that was, extorting all those people for money. Yep. We had the preacher who killed his wife and took her out in a carpet. So I think that the author, I think Peter David, does see some of the more negative aspects of faith, but also the more positive aspects in terms of how Supergirl kind of embodies that sort of figure of like the faith figure, and how she has faith in humanity. And I think that's why that last issue is like so like, kind of a compelling read, is that Supergirl loses her faith for a little bit in that issue, and just goes to a very dark place, not just with like that her parents have died that she thinks her parents have died, that she thinks that she's kind of giving way to this darker portion of her personality, but also you see in the background all of her loved ones looking evil. And I think that's, when you lose faith in the good of humanity, you start to see everybody as being not a good person, or you start to see everybody in a more negative light. And I think that that's sort of how Supergirl started to see all of humanity. So I think that was like a really good visual representation of that, and like you really got that vibe. So yeah, I've been enjoying the run. It's wacky, it's really crazy. I like that we've gotten to angels and demons already, and we're 9 issues in.
It's very early into this run.
Very early into this run, and already we've blown up the Danvers one time.
One thing that I just wanted to point out, because it's something that sort of bothers me, is that what I like about this run is that in the discussion of demons, the demon is the bad guy. He is the bad guy. Sometimes when I've seen demons portrayed, they're like, oh, we're really sympathetic towards it. He's misunderstood. When I heard about K-pop Demon Hunters, I haven't watched it yet. Maybe
oh my God, K-pop Demon Hunters is so good.
But I heard at one point, like, one of the demons was misunderstood. He was
misunderstood.
He's just not like, he's not like Demon. He was like misunderstood. You should have sympathy and empathy for him. And I was like, no, that's not how demons work. I was so mad about it. So I haven't watched it because I was like, that's it. I don't want to have anything to do with it.
You should really watch it though. The songs are so good.
I know a lot of people like it, so I'll have to maybe see it for myself. But that's what I like about this run, is like, I don't have any sympathy for Buzz. Buzz is a bad guy. He made he influenced. He didn't make Linda do anything. He influenced Linda to do bad things, and he was part of bad things. He was referencing Aleister Crowley, who was a guy who did bad
He did
things.
kill a puppy a couple issues back.
Yes, and he killed a puppy. We should mention that.
I'll
That's
never forget that.
high on the list of the bad things that he
Don't
did.
like it. Don't
Um,
like it.
So I appreciate that from Peter David, that he was like, you know what, I'm gonna have angels and demons in here. Demons are bad. I'm gonna take a strong stance on demons being
Strong
bad.
anti-demon stance.
Even though it was kind of silly that he made Buzz a business demon, but
He is a business demon. I do like that. Apparently, Buzz and Supergirl have like a little bit of human in them now,
yeah,
and it's the human part, I think, that makes Buzz hesitate on turning Supergirl completely evil. Like, even though he kind of took on this goal of turning Supergirl bad, I think he never really wanted her to be bad. I think he likes the balance of him being evil and her being good, and them kind of balancing each other out. He talks about how he is chaos, and if you have chaos, you need order, and like that's Supergirl, so you need the good and the bad. And I think at that moment when Supergirl was turning bad, he had that one moment of goodness where he's like, yeah, sure. And then that brought her back from the edge. So I think, yeah, definitely Buzz is like 99% evil. But I do like that there was that like one little percent that was like,
are you
maybe don't
saying
do
that
it.
Buzz is misunderstood?
I'm saying that Buzz is perhaps misunderstood.
I
I'm saying
reject
that-
it. I
I'm
reject it.
saying that when I watch Buzz Demon Hunters, that he's gonna have some banger songs about how he didn't get hugged enough as a child.
Yeah, so that's a really, really good point. I think a lot of stories will do that, the dark side versus the light side. There has to be both. So if there is evil in the world, there has to be good. I would argue that evil being in the world proves that there is good, because there must be good to combat the evil. So I think it's a really interesting thing that Peter David is doing here. So I guess we'll have to see how this progresses, and how some of this sort of lore and mythology that he's been sort of building with this story. And that's one of the things I also think is really good about this, because I'd like to tell people, like, the Peter David run, it's bonkers, it's wacky, there's a lot of wild stuff in it, but I think it's pretty well written. Like, 9 issues in, we have very clear, defined characters. We know who everybody is, who all their relationships are together. There's like a through line. There's themes. There's thematic things about trust and about faith. And so, to me, it feels like a really mature, sophisticated kind of comic book story. And so I appreciate that it's kind of like aiming to be something higher than just like some of that Rebirth stuff where we read like kind of evil Supergirl with her long fingernails, like that. I felt like was kind of doing the bare minimum, but like the Peter David run
that was phoned in for sure.
but the Peter David run, I think, is like aiming to be something. Like, it's trying to tell a story and like trying to be a really developed story. And so that's kind of what I like about this run, is it feels like someone really cared about it.
I think you can go really wacky if you're grounded in like good themes or good characters. Like, I understand Supergirl's struggle in this one, and I think if you can go into the specifics where it's like she's part Supergirl, part Linda, and it sounds crazy, but if you think about it as more of like a struggle for identity, who am I really, then I think it's more understandable, and then you can go to like kind of the wild places. So I think that the themes about identity, the themes about humanity, the themes about faith are really drawn through all of these issues. And though sometimes people turn into apes, and
and the sun goes away.
Sometimes the sun goes away. Sometimes a man in a Speedo breaks through your house and explodes it. But I think that the themes kind of ground the story and make it so that it's not just pure craziness. It's like craziness with a through line. Like a lot of the issues even have themes of like, you know, you have to take it on faith was the last issue. And like as it's wrapping up, Sylvia talks about you have to have faith that when you have children, you put them out in the world that they're going to like make good choices. And so I like this run so far. I think it's really fun. It's really wacky. Trying to explain any single issue to anyone is going to make you sound insane, which is like one of my favorite things.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things you have to read it for yourself because otherwise it's going to sound bonkers. Well, thank you, Morgan, for helping us. I think us teaming together to sort of recap these, I think has been really helpful. And it's good to like get your perspective on the things that we're sort of bouncing off each other with in terms of our perspective and how we see the story. So thank you for going through those issues with me. Well, I think that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. If you'd like to contact us, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. We recently got an email asking about some of the things that we were going to be covering. So if you are new to the podcast, please go through our website. We have over 500 episodes of searchable things. So if there's something about Supergirl that you are interested in, we probably have covered it. And we're probably going to cover it in the future. So hopefully if we have any new listeners, you will be able to find something that you're interested in. If you would like us to check us out on social media, we're on Facebook, we're on X and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you listen to podcasts where they have reviews as options. Supergirl Radio is part of the DCTV Podcast and Multiverse of Color Networks. We aim to go live and wired on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern on the DCTV Podcast YouTube channel. If you do have questions about what we're talking about or when we're going live, it's going to be on the YouTube channel. We will schedule that stream. So that's where you can find out that information. We also have a TeePublic store, the DCTV Podcast TeePublic store. So if you're in need of new DC Comics, DC TV, or Supergirl related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, magnets, tote bags, pins, phone cases, pillows, stickers, shorts, hats, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
And since we're getting closer to the summer of Supergirl, maybe if you got a snowstorm last weekend, it doesn't feel like it, but we are. Let people know why you're here with our Just Here for Supergirl designs in the TeePublic store.
Exclusive to our TeePublic store.
Exclusive.
Yeah. So definitely check those out. Well, I think we need to give a shout out to our Legion of Super sponsors. And I feel like I'm about to lose my voice, Morgan. So you may have to come in to save me at some point. But we'd like to thank them. Can you read out the list of our names?
I sure can. Thank you for supporting our Supergirl Radio Patreon, which we are going to read our super sponsors: Michael, Sam, Anne Marie, Yvonne, Nicola, Abby, Miriam, Nicole, Brian, Ethan, Majuba, Annie, Rachel, and Kit. If you'd like to become a Legion of Super sponsor, you can visit patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. We have 4 monthly tiers of memberships, and we appreciate you helping us keep the lights on.
So thank you to all of our Legion of Super sponsors. If you would like to find me, I'm on a couple of places. Vera True Social, I am at Derby Kid over there. On Instagram, I'm at the Derby Kid. And I also have a YouTube channel at youtube.com/DuckMilkPride. So if you want to check those out and follow me on the socials, you can do it there.
And you can find me on various places at Mojotastic. And you can also find me as a co-host on the Legendary Ladies podcast, which you can find at Legendary Ladies on YouTube and also Instagram and other places. And we recently did a full season review of Heated Rivalry, and we have to figure out what our next topic is. So if you have a great topic, you can always email it to thelegendaryladies@gmail.com and let us know what you would like us to cover next.
You know what's coming out in February, right?
So many things. I'm really excited about the Olympics, but
Scream 7.
Scream 7. I was going to say
the return of Sydney.
Sydney.
The return of Sydney Prescott. So,
Oh my God.
I mean,
Exciting.
I just kind of feel like that's what I would want you to cover. But
I
like,
mean,
I know there are like a lot of other Scream movies that you might need to cover before that.
I mean, I think we've at least Kat and I have seen all the Scream movies, so we're ready. We're ready to watch. I think Amy's seen like at least one, so she's ready too.
She's gonna just be able to jump right in. I think it's gonna be fine.
Lore, what lore? She's good.
So that would be my request. Is Scream 7's coming out. I'm very excited about it. Okay, well, looking forward to whatever is next for the legendary ladies, but that is going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I am still Rebecca Johnson.
And I'm still Morgan Glennon, and we'll be continuing to make our way through the Peter David run of Supergirl.
McGurk! I love
Not mess
typing.
with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira. I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom, because
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!